There's going to be a lot of questions about how to build a team moving forward now that your deal's done. How much did you kind of talk to the front office about that aspect and how you wanted to maybe do maybe things in the structure or something in the nature of the contract to help probably build the best team around you as possible?
Yeah, that was important to me, and that was part of the reason I was involved, to make sure that would happen.
All right, guys, so today I'm going to react to the press conference of Joe Burrow officially signing that contract and now being a Bengal for the next 7 years. Now, as always, when I do these reacts, I will put the questions from the reporters on the screen, enhance audio for both the reporters and coach and everybody, so we can make it a little bit better, you know, always improve the quality of the product when I'm making reacts to. But with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's go.
Okay, we'll get after it. I think it's an exciting day for everybody, a very well-deserved day for Joe. He's a guy that's represented everything we want to be about, and that's on the field as a football player, that's in the locker room as a teammate, that's in the classroom as a student of the game, that's as a voice of this organization in this whole state of Ohio. And so proud to be sitting here next to him today. He's earned this, and take your questions.
By the way, side note, just for context, he signed a 5-year, $275 million deal with $219 guaranteed, and overall wise, it's going to be 7 years total because of his current contract for $316 million. Yeah.
Joe, could you ever have imagined the magnitude of this deal when you were playing high school football in Athens, Ohio?
No, you see I got my shirt on. No, I did it for a reason. I wore it yesterday too, so I wore it 2 days in a row because we weren't quite sure when it was going to get signed. But so I reused the shirt, but I wanted to make sure I wore this shirt because this is kind of where it all started.
What does it mean that the franchise has invested what they have in you?
It means a lot. You know, I work really hard to perform well on the field and think a lot about how I handle myself and, you know, how I can be the best me for this organization. And so to be rewarded for that, it means a lot to me, but a lot more to do.
When did you really start getting involved in the contract talks? Can you just take us back through the last couple of months here?
Yeah, I've been involved the whole time. You know, wanted to make sure that things were going smoothly, make sure that things were, you know, on the right path.
Which, again, like I said before, he has been involved, but it's mainly, I feel like, been his agent. Because a lot of these football players, especially like T. Higgins, for example, you know, they do care about the contract. Obviously, he's the one getting the money in the end, right? But his agent's the one who really, you know, kind of goes back and forth with the team, spends the time with the team. While he's on the field training, practicing, getting better, working out with his teammates, his agent can really kind of break down everything. But at the end of the day, again, he's the guy who gets the final say-so. So his agent sends over the contract, says, hey, this is what they're thinking, this is what they're feeling. And then Joe says yes or no, or kind of gives his thoughts on what he wants, what he doesn't want.
What's your first purchase going to be?
I haven't decided yet. I don't know. All I've been thinking about is trying to find a way to win on Sunday. So we'll, I guess now I can just see something online and buy it. So maybe whatever that's going to be, I don't know yet. Whatever catches my eye.
I saw a video recently of like top 10 things that he has bought so far with the money he's had. And first off, he had $70,000 worth of jewelry. Which doesn't sound like a lot when you think of like Odell Beckham, who had like a $500,000 watch. $500,000 watch. But still, though, he has bought some very interesting things. Nothing too crazy outlandish. I know he was given one of the trucks. He was given a truck from some sponsorship. But the car he drives every single day is actually a Porsche. I think it's a Cayman. He drives every single day. And that thing, I think, costs like $150,000. But that's his daily driver. Other than that, the stuff he's bought, like, again, for a football player, doesn't seem that crazy. Like, for, like, Patrick Mahomes, he's bought crazier things. But overall-wise, he also bought a house and stuff like that, basic stuff. But I'll be honest, you know, I'll be interested to see what he spends some of this money on, definitely.
Joe, at what point did you realize that the Bengals and all this was going to work out as well as it has, with you guys obviously being the contenders here?
As soon as I met with Zach at the Combine, I saw his vision immediately, saw how he verbalized his vision, and there were a lot of people in the room as well. Mr. Brown, Katie, Troy, everybody, and the vision was very clear. And so after that meeting, I was bought in. I was ready to be the best me I could be for them. I'm going to continue to do that.
Has the division gone according to plan?
Exactly according to plan. Well, not quite exactly. Hopefully that one will get done this year.
Is there a
Side note, so he said the combine. Does he mean like when he got drafted? No, I'm gonna guess he means most recent combine. That would be my guess. Yeah, because I mean, unless he like this was all planned out, but no, I think he means most recent combine.
quarterback that a former quarterback or someone in the game that you really leaned on, whether you liked the way that they structured their contracts, or the way that they're doing it now, that you wanted to emulate what they were doing, or is this kind of something that you really did on your own with your agent?
No, I wouldn't say we really emulated anybody. We had a lot of things that we wanted to get done. Made sure that it was a mutual partnership, and I think we did.
Is there something about the structure?
That's actually a great question, because what she's trying to allude to is, were you guys waiting for Justin Herbert to get his contract done, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts before you got your contract, or was it something brand new and like not related? That was actually a really good question by that reporter, because that is exactly what every single media source was saying. Oh, Joe's not getting his contract until he gets the other ones. He's waiting, he's waiting, he's waiting. In reality, as he says, he wasn't waiting.
That you really wanted and ended up getting?
Yeah, I won't dive into the specifics of that, but we got a lot. We got what we wanted. They got what they wanted. I'm going to be here for a long time. That's the most important thing.
Was it important, Joe, also not to rush the process, like not saying I want this done as soon as possible, that you want it just the way you want it?
Yeah, I don't think we rushed it. I don't think we spent too much time on it either. I think it was just the right amount of time. It kind of just depends on all the variables. Everything happens the way it happens. You just gotta react to it, and we got a deal done that's great for both sides.
So, if I believe so correct, they started in the beginning of training camp. So they started in the beginning of July. Well, no, actually, I think the beginning of summer. So, like, beginning of June. And, I mean, like, 3-4 months for a contract of $275 million, that is very, very quick. I'll be honest with you, because we see a lot of contracts take up to 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Lamar Jackson's contract, took them 4 years to negotiate and figure out. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot quicker, I feel like, than other contracts.
Most importantly, it didn't disrupt your preparation for the season. That was obviously a priority.
Yeah, I've always been pretty good at compartmentalizing things that are important to me, and I'm never gonna let anything, no matter what it is, affect my ability to prepare the way that I need to prepare to get the job done.
If you kind of let it sit in that, settle in that you have a chance to deliver winning to Bengals fans for a long, long time here, and what does that mean to you?
No, I haven't really thought about that. I think if you think about it that way, you're not going to really be successful if you're thinking about the big picture too much. I think you have to focus on your day-to-day process, and the results are going to come after that.
How much emphasis, if any, was there to make sure that this was done before the first game?
Yeah, we wanted it done before that. That was important to me.
When did you get the sense that it was going to be across the finish line in time for the season to be done?
The last couple weeks, I think we were in a good place, negotiations-wise, and I had all the faith in the world in my agent, and as well as Katie and Troy and Mr. Brown to do the right thing to get the job done.
How did you communicate to your agent that was important to you in the contract negotiations? I mean, was there anything that was more important, length of contract or whatever?
I think it kind of depends. It's always a give and take. It's never, I need this, otherwise this. It's always a give and take, and so that's what was good about the whole process.
You've got a sense of history. The fact that they call this the biggest deal of all time. How does that strike you? What do you think? What do you think when you hear that?
Yeah, that's exciting. Coming from where I come from, I know I'm going to be able to do a lot of good with that money, both for myself and for other people. So I'm excited about that.
It's also generational wealth, in all honesty. Like, I mean, even beyond generational wealth, $275 million. Like, your kids upon kids upon kids upon kids upon kids, grandkids are gonna have millions upon millions of dollars. Like, that's insane amount of money. 316 total. And you gotta think that's not the last contract he's getting with us. You know, he's probably gonna get one more contract after that, right? So that's insane.
I haven't really thought about how that's going to be used yet, but I think it's going to do a lot of good.
So did you have a job in high school or growing up?
I did not. My family, you know, I didn't really have to have a job. My dad and my mom really provided for me great. And so really I could just focus on my crafts, whether it was football, basketball, baseball, school. I had all the time in the world to dedicate to that, which is probably a big reason why I'm here.
You didn't have like a flipping burger moment of, I might be the highest paid player in the world one day.
No, I did not.
You had so many influences, Joe, from where you grew up, and so many voices kind of speaking a lot of different things to you in a good way. Is there a message that you remember from a coach, youth, high school, or even your dad that always resonated with you?
I wouldn't say there's anything specific, but I've been blessed with so many great coaches. You know, a lot of these kids have a coach that they say ruins the game for them. You know, from youth football and all my youth sports all the way to now, I've had coaches that understand me, understand how I tick, understand the game, and understand what we need to do to win. And really, every step of the way, I've had coaches that, you know, really help me develop as a person, and that's really the most important thing when you're young. And I have relationships with those coaches to this day that I make sure that I see and talk to, because those relationships are really important to me.
I think it also comes down to, and this is not a shot at any player, it also comes down to being coachable and actually, like, as a coach, even the best coaches of all time, if the player is not coachable and they're just absolutely outrageous or rowdy or just impossible to work with, it's also that. Like, Joe has a demeanor that's very coachable. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. He wants to perfect his craft. And it's not like he's, you know, not going to listen. He's going to be very, you know, intuitive. And it's also really good that he's able to pick up stuff real quickly and become successful real quickly. So it's like, you know, you see the direct correlation from coaching him to him playing very well. So I think that also goes to it again. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have great coaches. He obviously has had great coaches, but it's like the perfect combination. Great coaches and great player.
How much thought have you put into like not letting the success and any of this change you? How have you kind of done it?
Really haven't put any thought to that at all. Just be myself. That's all it is.
There's going to be a lot of questions about how to build a team that moving forward now that your deal's done. How much did you kind of talk to the front office about that aspect and how you wanted to maybe do maybe things in the structure or something in the nature of the contract to help probably build the best team around you as possible?
Yeah, that was important to me. You know, that was part of the reason I was involved, to make sure that would happen.
Joe, Sam Hubbard called you an inspiration to this team. I know you said you don't know the big picture, but when you look in the mirror, how do you want your teammates, your locker room, this franchise to think of you? A word maybe, but like that.
Just a good teammate. You know, I really value those relationships in the locker room. That's really why you come to work every day. You enjoy the people that you work with, and when you don't enjoy the people that you work with, you don't have a lot of fun. And if you're not having any fun, you're not doing it the right way, and you're really not going to win a lot of games. So when, you know, the time that we spend in the locker room, off the field, that's what matters to me most. And, you know, I really think about that, go out of my way to do that, because one, because I enjoy it, and two, because it translates to on-field success.
Joe, when you become the top of the market in any sport, it feels like the expectations really rise. Do you feel like because of this deal, expectations are now even higher?
From the outside, probably, but my standard has always been my standard, and I'm going to continue to prepare that way, play that way. You know, you're going to be able to learn from a lot of different reps, whether it's practice or the game. I'm going to continue to go through my process.
Zach, on the field, what's your favorite skill that Burrow has?
His ability to process, you know, instantly, see the entire field, process the whole picture, better than any.
Zach, what was your perspective on all of this? I mean, we all watched it, and Joe went through it himself, but your perspective as his head coach, did you have insight or input? Did you have any particular perspective that?
Very neutral. It's always exciting and rewarding to see the players, get deals like this, and you see the work that they put in, and you appreciate that, and I always knew that this would get done, and so excited that it did, and I thought everybody handled the process the right way.
Zach, Joe mentioned the combine interview. Were you nervous heading into that interview, knowing kind of the importance of the first message you would show?
No, I was excited. I knew his dad before I ever knew him, so I'd known of Joe for a long time before he ever became the player at LSU that he became, and so I was just excited for the process to get a chance to shake hands for the first time. It was only 17 minutes. It was a quick in and out, and we didn't get a chance to see each other until a couple weeks later, but it was a good day.
Okay, so he was talking about the combine. Okay, so he was talking about way back in the day. I just want to make sure on that one. Okay, that's interesting. Also, I knew Coach was still there because I could see Coach's arm. I didn't think they were going to ask Coach any more questions. I thought this was all going to be Joe. I mean, I'm not surprised. Okay, so it does go back to Joe. So they're kind of going to ask both of them questions.
Go through it line by line if you have to. Did the number, obviously you know the numbers, but that when you see it on paper, did that really just set in for you?
Maybe more so when I walked out. You just reflect on everything you've been through. The NFL has, kind of been where I've played my best ball. And what people don't see is, all the years before that when you're not playing, the grind of the day-to-day when you're not playing is really tough, in college. And, looking back on those 3 years that I didn't play probably, prepared me more so for this moment than anything. And you don't even really realize it at the time, but I learned a lot about myself, a lot about life during those 3 years.
You've been through a lot so far in just a short period of time in your career with some of those injuries. Where do you feel like you're able to get your mental strength? Because it seems like everybody says you're just always so cool, calm, and collected. Where does that come from?
Yeah, I think I've kind of always been that way, but really honed that in those 3 years that I was talking about at Ohio State when, things never, just felt like nothing was ever going my way those 3 years. And you really, like I said, learn a lot about yourself, and you have to be mentally tough in that situation. Otherwise, you're not going to come out the other side. And, I continued to improve during that time. I had, again, great coaches and great teammates around me to, really during that time leaned on relationships in the locker room to help get through that and cherish those relationships to this day because of that.
Which is crazy because we talked about this, I think, earlier this year. But Urban Meyer actually, during that time he was at Ohio State when he was a backup and was a starter, Urban Meyer told him that he was never going to be good in the NFL. He could not hit a ball outside of a barn, and he would never even be a number one quarterback. And then guess what happens? We're talking about 275 millions reasons why Urban Meyer was wrong.
More kids. You have to wait to be a grant transfer to leave. That being said, are you happy in a way that the portal didn't exist when you were there?
I wouldn't change my life, my story for anything. You never know how it's going to work out if one thing's different. And people come into your life for a lot of different reasons, and things happen to you for a lot of different reasons, and it's all about how you respond to it, how you adapt to it, and how you grow from it.
More kids go through those 3 years that you went through at Ohio State. More kids don't ever see the field, then they wind up being the star. With your story, what's your message to those kids out there who don't get their chance?
You just got to wake up the next day and go back at it. That's all you can do. You can't get too emotional. You can't. You're going to get emotional. You're going to get upset, but the only thing you can do is wake up the next day and go back to work.
There's an extra .01 reported in the guarantee money. Was there any significance to that? How much?
I don't think so. Yeah, we actually talked about that today too. I don't know.
That's the only question my wife has asked me about the deal.
Joe, your dad said that you had wanted to come back to Ohio, maybe after you had left and went to LSU, and there was kind of it seemed to be a draw there. Was there a explain about Ohio and maybe the Bengals even before this happened, and what is that draw?
I had some unfinished business in Ohio. You know, my one athletic failure so far, in my opinion, is my time at Ohio State. I didn't get to play, and so to come back and kind of redeem myself in that way has been important to me.
Life-changing money for yourself, your family, everybody that you want to take care of from a charitable standpoint that you're talking about. Did you take time to celebrate it? I mean, once you knew that the deal was just about done, did you celebrate it all, or did you just kind of move on? How do you handle it?
Take a deep breath, celebrate for about 5 minutes, and then you continue about your weekly process. You know, it's game week, so you got to get ready to play.
Just given what you said and also the shirt, does the state title at you at all?
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. Whenever you lose a game like that, you know, think about it forever.
Joe, you mentioned Katie Blackburn, your starting with Blackburn family several times. What was it like working with her? What do you think she was to this franchise, this city, to you?
Yeah, Katie was awesome. She does a lot behind the scenes for this organization that nobody ever hears about. The Brown family is very instrumental in what we do here, and they don't like the spotlight, and that's how they want it. But to shed a little light on that, they've done a lot for this community, done a lot for me, done a lot for this team, done a lot for Zach, and so I'm eternally grateful to them. Excited that I get to work with them for the next 7 years and hopefully a lot longer.
There was questions before the draft over whether there was enough invested in the franchise by the front office in order for them to be successful. What did you make of that, and what have you seen to kind of maybe dispel kind of that notion?
Yeah, like I said, once we had that meeting, I was bought in, saw the kind of people that I was going to be working with, and I think, you know, the last several years have, if anybody had any of those questions, I think that's put to bed.
Joe, yesterday Tyler Boyd said, you know, the way the NFL works, someone else is going to eventually be the highest paid player in the NFL, that you're not going to be remembered for this contract, you're going to be remembered for how many Super Bowls you win. How much does that align with your thought process?
That's exactly right. You're the highest paid for a certain amount of time until the next person breaks it, and you know, you get the contract. You try to do as good for yourself as you can, and then continue about your business. So we're all about winning here. We're about winning Super Bowls, and you can't do that without winning games. So we're going to take it 1 week at a time and continue that process.
I am so happy he is on contract for the next 7 years. That is the biggest W of this offseason. You know what? I'll be honest. This offseason, probably the best offseason ever. We got Orlando Brown on a new contract. Irv Smith, new tight end. Obviously, we got Miles Murphy in the draft. A fantastic draft, by the way. One of the best drafts in Bengals history. Obviously, outside of 2020 draft with Joe Burrow and, you know, all those guys. But I will say, though, overall, an amazing offseason. And the only thing we have left to do really now this year is T extension and win the Super Bowl. And obviously, right now, we're going to have to wait for those two things to happen, as tomorrow I will be live on the channel for the Browns versus Bengals game. So I will be live around 12:30. Stop by the live stream, guys. Check it out. We're going to get crazy. Who Day Nation out going crazy, guys. My voice is going to be going. I can't wait. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next one. Peace out.